some stories try to explain the world we live in. Others, they try to map the very heavens. Well, today, we're diving into a vision that, believe it or not, does both. This comes from an ancient record called the Plates of Brass, and we're exploring the prophet Zenos' absolutely breathtaking vision of the Tree of Life. It's a metaphor that's part cosmic anatomy, part divine blueprint, and part a really profound earthly story.
So often, the biggest revelations don't come when we're comfortable, right? They come from crisis. And for the prophet Zenos, this was his moment. He's lost in the wilderness, he's been wandering for days, and he hits this point of just total desolation. And it's from that place, when he's given up all hope of saving his own life, that his prayer shifts to something deeper.
And the answer he gets? Oh, it's not some simple word of comfort. It's this massive, sprawling vision. It's a revelation that literally maps the structure of the divine and how it connects with all of us. So the big question is, what in the world did he actually see?
Zenos' vision kicks off with this totally awe-inspiring image, a divine figure whose body is a map of heavenly attributes. Now, this isn't just a person. Think of it like a living diagram of how God interacts with creation, all structured in a way that really echoes Kabbalistic thought.
Okay, so to get our heads around this divine map, there's one key term we need: Sephirot. The easiest way to think of these is as different qualities or channels through which this infinite God can be seen and understood. And what's so cool is that Zenos' vision lays these out on a physical, divine form, which makes this super abstract idea feel real and tangible.
So let's actually trace this divine form together. It starts right at the top with the crown, or Keter, which represents that highest divine will, the source of everything. The eyes are the home of two different things: wisdom, Chokmah, and knowledge, Dad. Then, moving down the chest, which is bound in gold, that embodies Bina, or understanding.
The right hand extends out with mercy, or chesed, while the left hand holds judgment, gevura, which suggests this perfect, necessary balance, right?
Smack in the middle. This is Tiferet, and its position is absolutely everything. It's the point where that feminine pillar of mercy and the masculine pillar of justice can intertwine, and in that meeting, create perfect harmony and balance. It's a central hub. It integrates the energies from almost every other part of the tree, acting as this mediator, where all these different divine aspects can come together and unify.
This figure stands on feet of eternal glory, a foundation made of Had and Netzach.
The countenance shines bright like the sun, and that's Yesod, the foundation of connection. And, this is so important, the feet of this cosmic being are actually touching the earth. That grounds the entire thing in what's called Malkut, the kingdom, our physical world. It's literally a living bridge from heaven down to earth.
Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. Because inside this vision, Zenos presents a totally unique arrangement of these Sephiroth. It's a little different from more traditional models, and in doing that, it gives us this profound insight into what it means to know God.
So the two attributes we really need to zoom in on are Bina and Dot. Now, in a lot of traditions, Bina is like this high-level contemplative understanding. Dot, on the other hand, is more about tangible, hands-on knowledge. It's kind of the difference between understanding the theory of something and actually putting it into practice.
But in this vision, look where they're placed. It's revolutionary. Understanding, Bina, is located in the chest, in the heart. And knowledge, Dad, is in the eyes, the mind. Now that is not an arbitrary choice. The theological statement here is huge. It's suggesting that true, heart-centered understanding is the foundation that intellectual knowledge has to be built on, not the other way around. It's a philosophy that puts intuition and inner conviction first, as the real starting point for wisdom.
And the text itself actually confirms this unique order. This prayer is asking that the wisdom and knowledge we get through our minds might ultimately lead to understanding being placed in our hearts. This whole structure is deliberate, and it's one of the most crucial takeaways from Zenos' entire revelation.
So you've got this whole divine blueprint, this body made of cosmic attributes, but it doesn't just stay as some abstract diagram. In this incredible turn, the vision reveals that this form is actually personified as a divine feminine figure who is, herself, the Tree of Life.
The name we're given for this figure is Shekinah. In Jewish mysticism, the Shekinah is the immanent, dwelling presence of God in the world. It's the glory of the divine that you can actually experience down here with us. She's often seen as having these maternal, feminine qualities, representing community and God's closeness.
And then the vision makes the connection totally unmistakable. The Tree of Life isn't a thing, it is a being, Shekinah.
She is the living source that bears the divine fruit, and she's nourished by the waters of divine mercy. This one verse completely transforms the tree from just some static object in a garden into a living, cosmic, motherly principle at the very center of creation.
So, that's all pretty sublime and cosmic. But how does it connect to the messy reality of human history, to our lives? Well, the vision brings all these grand ideas right down to earth with a deeply moving and practical metaphor, the parable of the olive tree.
The central idea is pretty simple, but it's so powerful. The house of Israel is like a cherished olive tree. But this tree is in trouble, and the master of the vineyard, God, is going to go to some pretty extraordinary lengths to save it, not just for its own sake, but for the amazing fruit it's supposed to produce. So the story plays out in this big cycle of decay and renewal. First, the original tree starts to die off. So to preserve the roots, which is still alive, the master grafts in wild branches representing other nations, and for a while it works. But eventually, the whole tree becomes corrupt, and all of it, wild and natural branches, produce only bad fruit. The only solution left is this final, radical act of restoration. Find the original branches that were scattered and graft them back into the mother tree to get back its true nature.
And this final act of restoration, that's the ultimate point of the parable and really of the whole vision. All of this divine work, the pruning, the digging, the grafting, the waiting, it's all for one single beautiful goal.
And that goal is unity. It's about bringing the scattered branches back to the root, having them all draw life from the same source, healing all the divisions and corruptions, and finally becoming one healthy body again, producing the good fruit it was always meant to. And with this final statement, the whole vision just loops right back on itself. That image of the divine body, the Sephirot all working in perfect harmony, that's the heavenly pattern. The parable of the struggling olive tree, that's its earthly reflection. They're both stories about the cosmic struggle and the ultimate divine push to make all things one.
And so we're left with this question, and it's a question that echoes from the cosmic scale of that divine body right down to the soil of that vineyard. It asks all of us to think about what it really takes: divine mercy, human effort, a return to our source, to heal division and restore wholeness, not just in some ancient tree, but in our fractured world, and maybe, just maybe, most importantly, within ourselves.